On the silent mountains, far from the noise of the city, there stood an ancient temple hidden deep in the forest. The marble stones had cracked with age, moss covered the edges of the walls, making the place feel as if time itself had slowed down. The courtyard was always quiet, even the wind seemed to hush as it passed. At the center hung a large bronze bell, darkened with time, decorated with delicate carvings around its rim, and bearing a small hole on one side like a scar of history. The bell was once famous, calling villagers at dawn, but for many years it had fallen silent. Dust covered its surface, and spider webs filled its hollow. Inside that hollow, a little sparrow discovered a safe circle, cool in the summer heat, warm during the rains, and hidden from predators. She carried tiny twigs in her beak, added dry grass, lined it with soft feathers, patiently weaving a nest just big enough for herself. Each morning she sang joyfully to greet the sun. Each evening she nestled in peace. The dust and webs outside did not matter, for inside was her own quiet world. In her heart she believed, "This is home. Nothing can harm me here." The silence of the bell only strengthened her faith, like a promise that would last forever. One tranquil morning, soft footsteps echoed in the courtyard. A group of monks returned after many years away. They swept the leaves, cleaned the altar, and finally stood before the dusty bell. They decided to restore the old rhythm of prayer, to ring the bell once more. With the first strike, the sound exploded across the mountains, deep and thunderous, like rolling thunder through stone. The entire bell shook violently. Inside, the sparrow's nest trembled, twigs fell apart, feathers scattered. Startled, the sparrow burst out of the hollow, wings trembling as she searched for safety, while her tiny home collapsed behind her in just a few echoes. The peace she thought eternal was torn apart, leaving an aching emptiness in her small heart. The sparrow circled above the courtyard, her heart pounding wildly. She could not understand what had happened, only saw her nest shattered into fragments, twigs scattered, feathers swept away by the reverberating sound. She landed hastily on a branch outside the temple, staring at the bell that had once sheltered her, now feeling betrayed by her own home. Questions flooded her mind. Why? What did I do wrong? Why did peace vanish so quickly? Emptiness filled her chest, heavier than her tired wings. She called out, but only the cold wind and the smell of dust answered. Quietly she flew away, carrying the shadow of loss. As she traveled, sorrow clung to her like a gray cloud closing the sky. In the days that followed, the sparrow wandered through valleys and hills, landing in bushes, then flying again, trying to rest under leaves, on rocks, by barren fields. But nowhere felt like home. Hunger showed in her thin belly, her wings grew weary from shifting winds and changing seasons. Many times she wanted to give up, to let herself fall onto any branch and sleep in exhaustion. Yet in a moment of silence among rustling leaves, a small voice inside whispered, "Don't give up. Fly a little further. Something better awaits." She listened to her heartbeat, gathered the last of her strength, lifted her head toward the misty horizon. Each wingbeat became a promise that today's loss would lead her to a place worthy of hope. Following the sound of flowing water, the sparrow reached a hidden clearing where sunlight streamed softly through the tall trees like ribbons of silk. The air was fresh, scented with moss and ripe fruit. A small stream sparkled like silver, running beside bushes heavy with berries, while ancient branches stretched strong and steady toward the sky. She perched on one branch, gazed around, and sighed with relief. This was the place to begin again. This time she chose flexible yet sturdy twigs, weaving them tightly like a vow. She lined the nest with thick leaves and soft feathers for warmth. The new nest was larger, embracing her whole body, with a quiet corner for peaceful afternoons. When finished, a gentle breeze touched her wings, the stream sang softly, and sunlight caressed her feathers. She whispered, "This home is safer." And within her heart, a seed of hope blossomed quietly but firmly. If the bell had never rung, the sparrow would have remained in that dark, cramped hollow, clinging to a false peace. The ringing destroyed her nest, but also shattered the invisible walls that confined her. On the branch in the bright forest, she realized loss was not the end. It was a doorway to a beginning that matched her needs and potential, wider, safer, filled with light and life. The collapse had guided her, forcing her to leave the old place to find where she truly belonged. Life is the same. We build nests of jobs, relationships, and plans, believing they will last. But when the bell rings, an unexpected event, everything may fall apart. Do not see it as the final stop. It may be the push that drives us out of our comfort zone, toward a place more fitting for our values and strength. Keep moving forward. Hold on to hope, because today's loss may open the door to tomorrow's happiness.